Just saying, Shein did not come to play. Sorry, Sheglam. Sheglam did not come to play, period.
You look so cute.
Hey darlings, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're returning, thank you so much for stopping by once again. It's good to see you, honey. If you're new here, my name is Vulo, aka Vulo Vlogs. Thank you so much for stopping by. So in today's video, I am going to be trying out a few products from Sheglam. Now, Sheglam is the makeup line that is produced by Shein, which is a recently very popular online store. I decided they've got new products, so I would get them and try them out so that you don't have to. I'll also be doing a bit of a chit chat, get ready with me, and discussing a few life changes that I've recently experienced, including, among other things, a career change. So if you're interested in seeing how I put this look together, as well as hearing my thoughts about the products and a bit about my life, keep watching. This was supposed to be a first impressions video, which I had filmed, but my mic pulled a Judas on me and the video has absolutely no sound. It went a little something like this. So as you can see, the content is good, the quality is good, but no sound. So I didn't want to lie and make this a first impressions video when I've already had my first impression. So I just figured I would do a chit chat, get ready with me, as well as show you the products that I got. When I got the makeup palette, one of the pans was like falling out. It was cracked. I thought I could remedy it, but no, honey. It just completely, no. So that is the FAVE Stellar Makeup Eyeshadow Palette. It's a pretty straightforward 18 pan palette. It's got mostly matte shades. It's got like nude colors and not like light nudes. That's why I gravitated towards this palette particularly. It's got like brown nudes. This is basically what it looks like in natural light. I'm just holding my hand here in case this pan falls out. But this is essentially what it looks like. I'm just gonna do some swatches. Oh, that's beautiful. So this is what the shades look like. And then I also got an eyeshadow primer. It's called the Ready Set Primer, and this is essentially what it looks like on the inside. Next up, I got a double-sided, it's called the Expert Dual Eyeliner. So this is the gel side. It looks like that. It's like a gel eyeliner. It's really nice and pigmented. Let me actually swatch it for you guys. So that's what it looks like. On the other end, we've got the liquid liner. And the swatch for that, that's that one over there. So really nice and pigmented. I'm really happy with that. Next up, we have got the Sheglam Skinny Brow Pencil. And on the one end, it's got a brush, a spoolie. And then on the other end, it's got a brown pencil. I tried to swatch it a bit over there, and that's what it looks like basically. Next up, I got the infamous Sheglam setting powder. So it's the Baked Glow setting powder, and I got it in deep brown. I have really been enjoying this powder, I must say. So this is what it looks like on the inside. It's just powder, and it came with this. Next up, I got two lippies. This is in the shade Haters. This is in the shade Musing. So let's start off by getting into the packaging. So this is what the packaging looks like. Really nice, really nice. It's got like this frosted acrylic container with gold detail. It's really, really nice. If there's one thing about the Sheglam packaging, is that it's really minimalistic, it's really luxurious, it's giving quality, you know? And these are the two shades. So the red one, the reddish one is Musing, and the nudish one is Haters. Last but definitely not least, I got 2 other sets of items. So I got a set of sponges. This is what it looks like when it's dry. This is what it looks like when it's wet. It's damp, right? So it's a bit hard when it's dry, obviously. And when it's damp, it's super, super soft. When I tell you, it literally just bounces off your face, like literally, that is the case. So I'll leave the prices of everything in the description box down below, but I'm pretty sure that these were under 80 rands for a set of 8 sponges. 8 sponges. 8 good quality sponges. Last but definitely not least, I got brushes. And when I tell you I was so impressed with these brushes, I kid you not, okay? So I got about 10 brushes in total, and so I'll be showing you guys as I use them along this video. So without any further ado, let's get straight into this video. So I'm going to start the makeup section off by doing my brows using the Sheglam Skinny Brow Pencil. Okay, so I'll just bring you a bit closer so you can actually see what's going on. And I haven't actually groomed my brows in a while. Ciao. Okay. So that is basically the brow pencil and how it applies. This side has the brow pencil, this side does not. I really love how it blends into my brows, but doesn't like take a back seat while also not really overpowering my brows. Okay, so I'm just gonna do the other side and then we can have a bit of a chat. One thing about my brows, they are sisters, not twins. So, bliss. So I'm gonna get into the eyeshadow before I do my face. Now, getting into the chit chat, one thing I wanted to talk about was my supposed career change. As you guys know, I studied biotechnology. I studied towards a Bachelor of Science in Biotechnology. But in my 3rd year of studies, I'm using the eyeshadow primer by the way now. In my 3rd year of studies, I started realizing that no man, the job market in the science industry in South Africa is unfortunately very, the working sector in South Africa in general, I feel is nepotistic a word? It is also very nepotistic. I don't actually know if that's a word. It is also very highly based on connections, and a lot of those connections are usually family related, family relations. And the thing is, I don't have family relations in the science faculty, in the science sector, which means that I would most likely have to go overseas. Okay, it looks a bit better this time. Last time I applied this eyeshadow primer, it looked a bit blue and it just was not gelling with my concealer on my eyelids, whereas now it looks a bit better. So in my case, I found myself working at a recruitment center, well, a recruitment agency. So we recruited for clinical trials and it was really great. I said so in my previous video that I was really enjoying it at the time. I learned so much there, not just about the science sector and a lot of stuff about clinical trials that I didn't know before, but also just about medicine and about medical conditions that I didn't even know existed. You know, I learned so much, but it also helped me come to the realization that, you know what, if I am going to be working in the science sector, I want to work in the lab. I don't want to do anything else other than working in the lab. And it was a really tough realization to come to because there were a lot of things that I had to consider. I had to consider how far am I willing to go in order to work in the lab, and that would entail most likely going back to school, of which if my parents were still alive, that would have been it wouldn't have been a tricky option to go into. But now, because I'm independent, my siblings are very helpful when I need help, but I mean, I'm a grown adult now. I am my safety net, essentially. So I decided, you know what? My work experience is all in customer care and corporate marketing, e-commerce, that whole bubble. And in the South African context, the job market in e-commerce is so much more secure than the science sector. So I decided, you know what, let me go where it is easier for me to be and more comfortable in the sense of job security and financial security. And coincidentally, not even coincidentally, it was a God coincidence, I call it. When I moved here where I'm staying now, when I moved to my apartment, I got headhunted for a job that is in e-commerce that happens to be down the road from me. So with all of that, and at the time I was facing a lot of anxiety, and I asked God, I was like, I'm somebody who, I believe in speaking things into existence, and I believe in also asking questions out loud. Like if you're in a place in your life where you're uncertain by like when's the gandoni, where must life go now, and you're not sure which way to go, which usually comes with anxiety, I'm a firm believer in asking. You know, being like, yo, God, like, fix it. I sometimes literally just put it like that to God. I feel like I'm gonna do a cut crease simply because I can. So I asked God, I was like, bro, I don't know what's happening. At the time, I had become a bit unhappy in the job let me not say a bit unhappy. I had become unhappy in the job that I was at because it was very stressful. It was very time consuming. I just didn't feel like I was getting the quality of life that I would ideally like to have. The vision that I had for my life, along with content creation for me is an outlet. For me, it's a way in which I express myself, which is very important for me. Self-expression is very important to me. It's a source of solace. It's therapy for me. So when I have a job that is so demanding and so stressful and now doesn't allow me to do the one thing that helps me blow off steam and brings me so much happiness, it becomes a problem. And that is exactly what happened, where now I wasn't having any time to blow off some steam. I wasn't having any time for the people that I love. It was just work and that's it, you know? Sorry. Yeah. It was just work and that was it. And at some point I even had an anxiety while working, and I had an anxiety attack while working, and I broke down and I just was not okay. At that point, that's when I realized that I needed to leave. But now I couldn't just up and leave because I just have things that need financial security. So just up and leaving was not really, logically to me, it wasn't really an option. I am so sorry. Just a sec. Just a sec. Okay, there we go. So basically the point is, up and leaving my job wasn't an option. I remember that week when I resigned. On the Monday, I felt like this is it. I'm quitting. I'm done. And then reality kicked in a few minutes later, and I was like, okay, I can't exactly just up and quit. And I literally cried to God, and I was like, bruh, like, please do something, fix it. I don't know, give me a sign. And although I had already been getting signs that I should quit, everything is sorted because of the way, I don't like calling it my anxiety, but I don't know what else to say. Because of the way my anxiety is set up, and because of the way I overanalyze and overthink, I just needed a solid, legitimate sign. So I got a call, literally a few days later, I got a call and they were like, we're offering you the job. And I was like, what? So that is how I decided to just make that career move. Did I go where the money is? Absolutely. Did I go with a safe option? Absolutely. But am I happy with that choice? Absolutely. I'm happy. And that is what matters. That is what was my priority. And that is what I care most about right now. Prioritizing my peace of mind, my happiness overall. I always have to concentrate when I'm doing this. Okay, so next up, I just want to talk about a question that I've been getting a lot about how you get an apartment in Cape Town. Now, my apartment, it was a coincidence. I will say that until the day I die, probably. Okay, let me first tell you about the different platforms that you can use to get an apartment. There are the obvious ones: private property, Property 24, but I got mine on Gumtree. So every time I went onto Property 24, I couldn't get an apartment because, first of all, the main criteria that they have is that you earn 3 times the amount of the rental, which I didn't have. I was fresh out of varsity. 18,000, 20,000, like per month. Hello? And then secondly, the problem that I always ran into was my credit score. I feel like one day I will do a story time about how I partook in the messing up of my credit score. Not because of anything that I necessarily did, but because I was very naive and I lacked a backbone. And that landed me up in a situation where the fate of my credit score was in somebody else's hands, somebody that I trusted a lot. And unfortunately, it didn't end well. No, it was not a man, it was not a boyfriend. No, it was not. But we live and we learn, you know. And when I found this place, I was actually eyeing a place that was in Parklands at the time. And I really wanted that apartment. Oh, I really wanted that apartment. But every time I was just about to get the apartment, something would come up and I wouldn't get it. And then until a point when I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna look at other places because something fishy is going on here. There's no way that I can work so hard to get an apartment, but somehow there was always a missing link. So anyway, it got to the point where I started looking at my other options. I started looking on Gumtree again. Initially, I had avoided Gumtree because a lot of the time on Gumtree, the ads are for sharing, apartments for sharing. And I had absolutely no intention of sharing. Ooh, I quite like that. I had absolutely no intention of sharing. So I went onto Gumtree this one day and I searched for apartments in Cape Town and I found one. And then I saw that it was by an agent. When I went on Gumtree, I was specifically looking for places that are being rented by the owner because they tend to be more lenient. That's another thing that you can look into. If you're somebody who's looking for a place but you haven't had any luck, try and look for a place that is being advertised by the owner because they tend to be more lenient with basically everything. As long as they can see that your credit score is fine, they won't really bother too much about your credit history and al daihuta. Like, they won't really bother with that. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot to tell you guys, I was using these two brushes from from Shein, Sheglam, and I really love them, especially this one. I really like it. This one is a bit fluffier though and bigger, but this one is easier to control and the shape is quite different as well. So what I did was I went onto Gumtree and I searched for apartments. I saw that it was being advertised by an agent, which did make me a bit nervous, but I figured if they're advertising on Gumtree, maybe they'll be lenient. And so I sent them an email on Gumtree and they called me and they asked if they can organize. They called me the next day actually and they asked if they can organize a meeting for me to view the place and for us to meet, talk and discuss a few things. And then he was just telling me that, he told me that nah, he's just looking for a good tenant, man. Like, be a good tenant, you know, be a good person, don't trouble your neighbors. So I told him I really liked the place, what would be the process to see if I qualify. And then he was like, no, let me give you a ride to my office and we can talk. Now, obviously, it's 2021. I'm just like, I'm not getting in no stranger's car. But something was like, nah, relax, you know? So I texted Romeo and I was like, okay, we're going to his office. He has my live location all the time. P.S. If I ever go missing, ask Romeo. He'll know how to find me. He always knows how to find me, somehow. So anyway, we go to this guy's office and he pulls out paperwork. So next up I'm going to be using so I've got two foundation brushes, right? I'm going to be using this one. I really quite like this one. So I'm going to be using it. Suffice it to say, long story short, he started drafting the paperwork right then and there. And I'm like, wait, does this mean I got the apartment? And he's like, yes. I'm like, well, okay. So it helps to break the ice. I can speak Afrikaans. So that helped me a lot because it gets people excited. They're like, oh my gosh, you can speak Afrikaans. Like, oh my gosh, you can Afrikaans praat. And I'm like, yeah, I can need a bit Afrikaans praat. And then I speak my cute little broken Afrikaans. And for me, because of our ability to transcend our background differences or our cultural differences. So if you're somebody who can speak Afrikaans, that'll really help you in the Western Cape. Take it, don't take it, but that's just from my experience. It's really helped me a lot. Granted, I have Afrikaans family, but as collab. That is basically how I got my apartment. Don't give up looking and explore your options. Don't rush also. Don't rush, because when you rush, you'll settle for a mediocre place. I feel like I do this all the time when I do chit chat get readies with me, where I ramble and I don't do my damn makeup. So I'm just gonna quickly finish off. I just wanted to show you guys how smoothly this buffs the makeup. Like this foundation brush, it buffs it out so perfectly. But I'm just gonna quickly do the rest of my face real quick using non-Shein products, and then I'll come back and quickly show you guys my lips. I think I might do a wing. I'll see how I feel about that, as well as lashes. Okay, so I had to turn on my artificial lighting because the natural light just went deuces on us. But we continue, we move. So I wanted to come on here and show you how this powder brush applies translucent powder so beautifully. So I just dip some on and then I just apply it all over my face before applying my setting powder under my eyes. And I feel like this really helps to set my makeup, especially if you're like an oily gal like I am. This sort of helps to set your powder. Initially, I didn't really like translucent powder because I really felt like you could see the white powder on me, but I just wasn't blending it right. I was the problem. Suffice it to say, I was the problem. I hope you guys see the difference, because I do. Just saying, Shein did not come to play. Sorry, Sheglam did not come to play, period. Next up, I'm gonna go in with the Sheglam Baked Glow Setting Powder in the shade Deep Brown. Really kind of love the setting powder. I'm gonna use the same blending sponge that I've been using to set my foundation as well as to apply my highlighting concealer. So just under my eyes. Look at that. Look at how beautifully that sits under my eyes. Hold up. Do you see that? Do you see that? Moving right along, I'm gonna use the brush that I call a contouring brush. I don't know what it is, but this one over here. I'm gonna use it to go in with some powder bronzer or contour? Powder contour. Do you see that shadow? Do you see that? And then I'm gonna go in with this dual-ended brush. I'm gonna use the small end to just apply a little bit of powder contour on my nose, just to deepen that contour. Now, I wasn't sure if I was going to go in with the liner, but I definitely am gonna go in with the gel liner on my lower lash line. Let me be a good makeup artist. Okay, so I'm not going to do a winged eye, but I am just going to add a little bit of definition to my inner corner. Surprise, surprise, I think I'm going to go with the nude lip. Yeah. So I have ever so slightly overlined my lips. And I'm going to go in with one of the two shades, which is Haters, the nudish shade. This is how they look when they're dry, by the way. So this is both of them. So that is Musing and that is Haters. That's what they look like when they're dry. Not too shabby at all. So I'm gonna go off camera just to finish off the rest of the look, and then I'll come back and give you my final impressions, because I really do want to redo that part where I actually review the products. I'll be right back. Alright darlings, so this is the final look. I am absolutely obsessed with this look. I love it. I love everything about it. I love the color. I love the cut crease. I haven't also done my makeup in a really long time, so I'm quite happy with how it turned out. I feel like I say this all the time, but I'm really happy with how this look turned out. So I'm just gonna give you guys my impressions of the product. This is the second time I'm using this now. The first time I used it was in what was supposed to be my first impressions video. And once again, I am super impressed with it. I would have liked to use it with a darker lip liner, but I couldn't find it for the life of me. So that's not the lippies problem, that's my problem. These two lippies were 64 rands, and I feel like for that price, you get really good quality. It doesn't feel flaky, my lips don't feel dried out. Yes, I did apply some lip balm before applying the lippy, but I do that with everything. with all lippies, whether it be lipstick, lip gloss. It's really good quality. Next up, the dual eyeliner. Now I didn't use it for a winged eye this time. I only used it for the inner corner, the little cat eye situation, as well as the gel liner as eyeliner for my waterline. And I'm really impressed with this product. I'm really impressed with the pigment. It's really good quality, and I also love the fine tip because it allows for precise application. The dual eyeliner was also 64 rands, and I feel like for that amount, I feel like it's within the price range of normal drugstore products, but the quality is really top notch. With the setting powder, it is said to be newly reformulated, and it also went for 64 rands, and I feel like for that little money, it's a really good product. It doesn't cake, as you can see. So like naturally I've got these lines under my eyes. That's got nothing to do with the makeup, but literally look at the natural finish. So it doesn't cake out your makeup. It doesn't cause that overly matte effect, which I really love. In the previous video, I likened it to your Revlon Candid setting powder, which is one of my favorite powders. I feel like they're more or less in the same WhatsApp group. However, this costs half the price of the Revlon setting powder. But the Revlon setting powder is more accessible. You can literally go to Clicks or Dis-Chem or whatever store, you know. And with Revlon, you know for a fact that you're guaranteed. I only used the deep brown variant of the setting powder, but for 64 rands, I feel like it is really bomb quality. It far exceeded my expectations. With the eyeshadow primer, when I tell you the first time I used this eyeshadow primer, I was not impressed. In the primer's defense, I had never used an eyeshadow primer before, so I don't really know if it was anything that I did to make it apply the way it did, or if it was just not a good buy. Second time around, I am a bit happier with how it applied. However, I don't really see much of a difference as to when I don't use eyeshadow primer or when I just apply concealer on my whole lid and then set that with setting powder. I can't really say that the eyeshadow primer made much of a difference. I'm not unhappy with it, but I don't really see the point of it. The eyeshadow primer was initially 48 rands, but currently it's running for 35 rands. I don't remember how much I purchased it from. It's not really like that much of a loss of money, but it's not something I'd recommend. I could live without it. Next up, the Skinny Brow Pencil. So I got the Skinny Brow Pencil in the shade dark brown. I'm really happy with how this brow pencil works. I'm really happy with how it applies. It's not too overwhelming, but it's not underwhelming as well. It's also quite buildable, and it goes where you want it to go. It's not like what I really like about it as well that I forgot to mention earlier, it's not waxy. Because sometimes with waxy liners, with waxy brow pencils, it tends to move. So, you know, also if you like sweat under the light or like during the day, then it moves and it becomes all glossy and stuff. This one doesn't do that. I'm not really sure what it's made of. It doesn't have a gel-like or wax-like feel to it either, so I'm not really sure what it's made of, but the brow pencil I would definitely recommend. And so I actually didn't pay for the brow pencil. It's 48 rands, but I didn't pay for it because there was a special running when I placed my order. The eyeshadow palette, let me start with the cons. I was very disappointed at the fact that when it arrived, it was one of the pans was broken and it literally fell out. So that to me wasn't really a good first impression. I would not necessarily repurchase this one simply because of the quality, and the quality not necessarily in terms of the pigment, but in terms of the durability of the product. And then in terms of the quality, referring to pigment, I was quite happy with that. It's not like, wow, I'm not mind blown by the pigment, but it is quite good. This palette was only 118 rands. So that's like around the price range of your Makeup Revolution, which is also a really good beginner friendly brand. In terms of the pigment, I don't really have anything bad to say about it. That is the packaging. It came in a box, like a box material that was the size of the palette, and it had literally this on it as well. Next up, I want to talk about the sponges, and then I'll talk about the brushes. So the sponges I was really happy with. I'm actually quite impressed with the sponges. So the sponges, correction from my earlier comment, I said that they may have been less than 80 rands. They were actually 86 rands, which is still a bargain though, because for 8 pieces, let's see, there were 5 large sponges. So you get 3 small ones and 5 big ones, and those are the different shapes of the big ones. So in terms of the sponges, I'm really happy with the sponges. I will definitely be repurchasing the sponges. I don't have anything bad to say about the sponges. Buy them. Link below. In terms of the brushes, I really love the brushes. I really can't say anything bad about the brushes either. In terms of the quality of the brushes, I did a pull test. So a pull test is basically when you pull the brush to see if it's gonna have any bristles falling out. None of which are falling out. It's still quite intact. I've used this now twice and it's also not really dirty. Some brushes just literally pick up dirt and it's like... So I'm really happy with these brushes. My favorite out of the brushes, my top 3 will have to be number 1, the foundation brush. So I was really happy with this foundation brush. I love how it buffs out the makeup. You don't even have to go through with the sponge afterwards. Secondly, I really loved this powder brush. I really love the detail of this as well. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. It's like got this rose gold detail. And then my third fave would have to be, yeah, definitely this dual-ended brush. That's simply also because of the convenience of this and the effectiveness of this. I can use it to contour and I can also use it to contour my nose. That is basically my review of the products. I also noted that at the time when I purchased my makeup, there was no foundation in my shade, and the concealers were also quite more for fairer skinned people. Okay, in terms of delivery, I placed it on the 6th of June and I got it on the 18th of June. So that was roughly 12 days from the time I placed my order to when I got it in my hands. And for this order, I did not pay customs. So for this order, I didn't pay customs and I got it within 12 days. So in terms of Sheglam, which is the makeup line by Shein, I would overall give it a thumbs up. I wouldn't necessarily give all of their products a thumbs up, but the products that I've reviewed in today's video, I would definitely give a thumbs up, except the eyeshadow primer. You don't need that, with all due respect. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what part you enjoyed the most in the comment section down below. Let me know if you'd like more videos like this in future, and I'll be more than happy to spend my money on new products so that you don't have to. You can hear what I think about them and then you know what exactly to get when you go. I will see you guys in my next video. I love you guys so much for watching. Thank you, and goodbye for now.